Married at First Sight and Afterparty Season 16, Episode 5. Afterparty featured Gina, Shaq, and vlogger Sarah Ferguson. First of all, did you notice that they cut the episodes to 1.5 hours? Yeah, I didn't either, but it looks like someone was listening to the fans about the episodes being too long. Unfortunately, it still felt like 2 hours to me. Oh, and in my last video, I said something like, since when did serial killers go on dating shows? And many of you hopped in my comments to school me about serial killer Rodney Akala, who went on the dating game in the 1970s to find his next victim. Oops, I stand corrected. But still, you gotta admit, it's not that common. So this was another episode that didn't seem to move the cast storylines forward very much. They are in full blast honeymoon mode, and we're getting to see more glimmers of their personality. But watching people eating bacon, go horseback riding, and taking off their shoes is not must-see TV. So I'm your girl Tamara of Tamara Lynette Tales. Let's get into this episode. Shaq and Kirsten finished up their Jacksonville moment for Shaq's presentation and finally landed in Jamaica. Now, Kirsten came across as being understanding about Shaq needing to take care of his business. Education is important, and I was happy to be there to support you, even though I wasn't at first. She's starting to say all the right things, but I'm not sure if I trust her just yet. I feel like in the end, she had a good time, so that's why she's happy that she went. But if it wasn't fun, would she still be glad that she was there? On Afterparty, Shaq said he introduced her as his wife. He said that the people who are in his circle already knew, but everyone else was stunned. So I wonder how he handled their questions, because according to his contract, he's not allowed to tell them about being on the show at that point. So when they went on the ATVs and she kept speeding away and leaving him in the dust, I feel like if it were the other way around, if he left her like that, she would have accused him of not being a protector and looking out for her. Nathan did that to Stasha last season. She wasn't happy with him about that, and neither was I. And I'm wondering if Shaq might need some counseling to help him overcome the trauma of his childhood accident. I think Kirsten could have handled that situation more compassionately without ruining her good time. At this point, I'm still waiting to see what she's bringing to the table other than being cute. And on another note, I think this might be the first cast that is so dang vocal about their lack of attraction to one another. When she told Shaq that she wasn't attracted to him and his old bald head at first, but now she's starting to find some attraction, I was like, if you're getting there, why even mention that you were never there? Who are you helping by sharing that information? I'm not saying you should lie about being attracted to him, but there is nothing wrong with omitting that fact from the conversation. Okay, on second thought, I am saying you should lie. If you're gonna try to make it work, just lie to the man and say you think he's handsome. But when she said she wasn't a good kisser, girl, you better stop playing. With those plump suit coolers that the Kardashians are paying thousands of dollars to achieve, all you gotta do is pucker up and let him take care of the rest. Your lips will get to flapping and smacking like a pro on their own. So then she was talking about how she prefers touch over kissing, right? I think what she meant was, I prefer for you to touch me instead of kiss me. She needs to stop playing games when it comes to affection. Shaq pretty much called her out on Afterparty. He said he's confused because behind camera, she's telling him that she's not ready for him to touch her yet. But on camera, she's touching him and talking about wanting to be touched. To me, it kind of sounds like she's done her homework and watched the show and is trying not to get the villain edit. But now knowing that she's telling him one thing behind the cameras and acting a different way in front of them, it's hard to know as a viewer when she's being sincere. Then add in the fact that they like to edit scenes to purposely mislead us. It's really hard to know what's really going on with this bad kisser. Then there was Domynique and McKinley. If they have another prom and give out awards again this season, McKinley needs to win the Cornball Award. He is so corny, and it's not in a cute way. When they went to eat and he was like, I put all of this together. I made the table. I melted the wax to make the candles. Ooh, I made the lobster. Okay, Uncle Willie, we get it. Now go sit down somewhere with your old man jokes. And she's so young and dingy to the confessional cam, she was like, I think he was kidding. Girl, those jokes were right in line with that old soul you allegedly have. You should have been dying laughing over those jokes, Mrs. Old Soul. I really don't see why these two were matched. They don't appear to have much chemistry, just some physical attraction. Meanwhile, Gina and Clint seem to have gone on the bus trip from hell, getting lost, taking 3 hours to go 45 minutes away. On Afterparty, she said the bus ride was pretty scary because they were going on narrow streets on the sides of cliffs. Ooh, in that rickety bus? Child, I would have hopped out and Ubered myself back to the resort. No, thank you, ma'am. She also said that on the way to Jamaica, they had multiple flight delays and their luggage didn't arrive until their 3rd day in Jamaica. Okay, I thought it was kind of funny that Clint was wearing all this Jamaica gear, but now I see he didn't have a choice. But when she was starting in on how the physical attraction wasn't there for her yet, first of all, I was thinking, girl, you straight up lied to his family when you told him that you thought he was hot. But I get it. What else can you say in that situation when his family is asking you, do you think he's hot? So I'll give you a pass on that one for now. However, again, I don't believe week 1 of the marriage is the time to express that you're not attracted to your spouse. If she feels attraction can grow, then let it grow. Everything doesn't have to be said out loud. But whatever, she put it out there for the world to know. I thought she'd be done with the topic and move on, but no, she had to dig in further and say that she told the experts that I don't normally click with someone who has gingery features, and voila, here you are, all gingery and whatnot. Okay, Gina, now it just feels like you're trying to push him away because he can't change his skin and what color grows out of his head. Gina, imagine if Clint said, I told the experts that I don't normally gel with women who can open their mouth at a 126-degree angle. How would that make you feel? Because that's something you can't change. I don't know. That gingery comment just felt mean and unnecessary. Like, I'll take overshare for 1,000, Chuck. On Afterparty, she said she felt like that conversation was more even. They both pointed out things about each other that they were not normally attracted to. But she also told him that he has good hair and she likes his beard. So in other words, they did point out good things about each other as well. She said they were both being like super honest, like brutally honest with each other, and they realized maybe they need to pull back a little bit. Yes, I agree. I really wish they hadn't cut Clint's critiques out of that scene because the way it was presented looked very one-sided and gave a different context to the previews they've been showing where Clint insults her body type by saying he's usually attracted to women with a slender and more athletic build. Because now when I see that clip, I'm looking at it like, well, maybe she deserved it after going after him and his looks. So he's like, you don't like my red hair and my white skin? Well, I don't like women who aren't athletic. Now what? Anyway, between their brutal honesty and the way they edit this show, I hope we're able to get a true picture of the situation as it unfolds. So moving on to Jasmine and Airris. He started out the episode on good behavior, offering to help her with her mom's care as she goes through chemo and stuff. That was a nice moment. But then he kept giving her a hard time about having bacon. Now, in one of the first episodes when he said he didn't eat meat or whatnot, I remember him saying that he doesn't trip on people who do. Yet, first thing in the morning, 2 mornings in a row, he's giving her a hard time about eating bacon. Talking about, do you eat it every day? I don't know. Are you this annoying every day? You've only known this woman for 3 days and she's on an all expensive paid free vacation. Of course she's gonna eat bacon every day. That's what normal people do when it's free, man. Just kidding, but honing in on her eating bacon and trying to make her feel bad about it has absolutely nothing to do with the future you're supposed to be trying to build with this woman. Leave it alone. Move on. When they were eating dinner and she asked, what else do you want to know about me? What's your favorite sexual position? I was thinking, oh, there's that F-boy creeping in their marriage. You literally know practically nothing about her, and that's what you lead with? Which way she likes to bend her body during sex? That actually sounds like a question F-boys ask when they meet you on a dating app, because they come locked and loaded with questions to determine whether or not you're a freak in the bed. He's still in F-boy dating app mode, because when she got a little embarrassed, he called himself changing the subject and asked the hard-hitting question, what's your favorite color? When she said lavender, he was like, you know, people who favorite color is lavender, their favorite sexual position is downward facing dog. I'm like, dang, dude, you study the color chart and everything and even know it by heart? Color me unimpressed. Will you please take your disco stick off the table and act like you got some dang sense? When she was saying that she's not comfortable talking about sex and asking for what she wants, he was like, you're giving me lady vibes in class. I'm gonna need you to give me whore. Pastor Cal, if you don't come and snatch this fool up by his ear and give Jasmine a different husband who knows how to talk to a lady and treat them with respect instead of this dude whose favorite number is 69 and whose love language is whore, I'm going to have to ask you to renounce your expert title, please. You and Dr. Pepper. Even the way he received her feeding him lobster wasn't sexy. Lean in, I can't reach it. How about you get your butt up out of your chair and kneel down closer to her instead of sitting there like a baby pigeon trying to get a worm from its mama? When he was telling her about being 39 years old and never being in love despite being in a relationship for over a year, I was hoping that by this point she was putting two and two together and realizing that he's there to waste her time. Moving on to Nicole and Chris. Now, these two are the complete opposite of Airris and Jasmine. They're having deep conversations, so much to the point where they may need to pump the brakes a little bit and lighten it up some. After drinking 3 gallons of rum shots at their rum tasting, she was talking about how that reminded her of old Nicole, the girl who loved to party, was short-tempered, and only thought about herself. Girl, you also used to cry when your diaper was wet and threw a temper tantrum when you didn't get to have ice cream after t-ball practice. Who cares? That's old news. If you no longer behave that way, why plant that negative seed in his head? When Chris brought up the topic of kids and said he wants to, and Nicole carried on about how she never saw herself having kids, but now that she's at a different space in her life, she's open to it, but not in a rush. To be honest, that answer didn't bother me. If what we're seeing so far is her true self, I believe that once she falls head over heels in love with him, and I believe she's well on her way, I think she'll also fall in love with the idea of having his kids. So overall, when it comes to the show, I feel like I'm sitting at a bus stop waiting for the good part to start. I keep checking my watch and looking down the street, wondering when it's going to come. We're 5 episodes in now. Let's get this party started already. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.